Hello everyone, Mark here, Mark's Max Muscle, and we have a very interesting topic to discuss today. We are going to look at some bodybuilding careers that I believe went a little too far. Some bodybuilders, some legendary bodybuilders, I might add, that in my estimation should have called it quits long before they did. Dexter the Blade Jackson, 2020, it was his last time competing. Right before that, he got second at the Arnold Classic. He defeated Big Ramy. And as you guys know, Big Ramy went on to win the Olympia title that same year. So do I think Dexter the Blade Jackson competed too long? No, absolutely not. Most people at the age of 50, yes, they should have called it quits a long time ago. But Dexter the Blade Jackson, he is a freak of nature. He dominated, or he was a threat to the Olympia title from, 2003 or even earlier, 2003. He looked phenomenal. And the guy, he really hit a stride. So no, Dexter the Blade Jackson is not who we are looking at today. And as far as Dorian Yates is concerned, physically, yeah, he probably should have called it quits a long time ago, but here in 1997, his last time competing, he won the Olympia title. So absolutely not. In terms of bodybuilding standards, he was a success till his last time competing. So that's not what we are looking for. And ditto with Ronnie King Coleman and Phil the Gift Heath. They only competed once after losing their titles, after placing second and losing their Olympia titles in both cases. And, they looked respectable. So that is also not the type of career we are zooming in on. Now, Ed Corney, this is exactly who I am looking for. Ed Corney, he competed way back in the 70s. You guys remember Ed? He was on Pumping Iron, for goodness sakes. Pumping up, pumping iron. Anyway, he placed second to Franco Columbu in the lightweight class. So the guy was a serious threat to that Olympia title. And he competed on after Pumping Iron. He just wasn't, he didn't just compete in 75 and that's it. He competed on into the 80s. He had the silver hair. He had Kenny Rogers. Lady, I'm your knight in shining oven. I love you. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to get a copyright from Kenny Rogers' his faction. But either which way, guys, his placings were very low. He got like 14th and 83. And seemingly called it quits until they had the whole Masters competition in 94. And a lot of them did it. And what the heck? A one-off. Not bad at all, right? Well, Ed didn't call it quits. He continued on. They had a 60s plus Masters competition in 1997. And guys, when you used to look like a dream wrapped in a blanket, it's it's terrible for your fans to remember you like this, like Ed Corney looked here in 1997. With all due respect to Ed, I'm sure he enjoyed competing. He competed up until 1998 when finally he called it quits. May he rest in peace. But in my opinion, that's the type of careers we're looking for. But before I continue, I definitely need to say Ed Corney deserves respect. And at 60 years old, yes, he looked phenomenal. But I choose to not remember this Ed Corney. I choose to remember this Ed Corney. And with competing past your 60s, it's hard for the fans to remember him looking so good. Next guy on the list is Rich Gaspari, and there is a definite theme about all of these guys. They were very successful, placing very high on the Olympia stage. I mean, Rich Gaspari, guys, he rocked the very foundation. He pushed Lee Haney. 80, 85, he got third, 86, 87, and 88, he got second, respectively. 89, he dropped down to 4th place, and by 91, he was getting 10th. So, in my estimation, that is where he should have called it quits. But he would not have made it into this video. Would he have? No, he wouldn't have. He competed on into the 90s, and you can definitely see There was some wear and tear. And by this point, I mean the competition in the IFBB was so good, it was almost sad to see. I mean, this back development back in the 80s was revolutionary. But I mean, by this point in time, you had Dorian Yates, bunch of other guys. He called it quits in 1996. I mean, the guy could not even qualify for the Olympia. So yeah, a guy that was once placing second at the Mr. O to not even be able to qualify, almost disrespectful to his lineage and to his fans. So yeah, Rich Gaspari, in my opinion, competed way too long. And so did this guy. In my estimation, Nasser El Sonbaty, he definitely fits the bill. He makes it onto this video. He was the beast of all beasts. When he first started, guys, Nasser, don't kid yourself, he was very aesthetically pleasing with a tiny midsection. And then he decided to just balloon up. Rock hard, grainy muscle everywhere, 300 pounds solid blockbuster. And the guy had a stellar career, pushing the likes of Dorian Yates, getting second place in 1997. By 1999, he actually slipped down to sixth place, but I think as fans we did forgive him because he just won the Arnold Classic. So we were all excited to see him in 2000 make a comeback, but he looked a little bit small. Looked a little small in the upper body, thicker in the midsection. He did take fifth. Might have been a gift. Lee Priest looked pretty good there, mate. 2001, this is what he brought. He was huge, but I think those delts were a little bit suspect, if you know what I'm saying. And the judges knew what I'm saying as well. And yeah, he got ninth. 2002, this is what Nasser looked like. His best days were far behind him. I believe he probably should have called it quits back in 2000, to tell you the truth. But like a trooper, all of these guys on this video, it isn't meant to disrespect them. I guess just goes to show you that they were troopers, soldiers. 2005, he was still at it, and it was a shell of his former physique, Nasser El Sonbaty. And may he rest in peace as well, guys, Nasser El Sonbaty. But yeah, he should have called it quits long before he did. Take a look, guys. This is a back development second to none. Back at the beginning of his career, I think this is back in 94. He looked incredible. Incredible lat insertions. And it just a deterioration. So, much like Ed Corney, it is how you choose to remember this guy. You could remember him like this or like this. Very aesthetically pleasing. To tell you the truth, I think we all remember Nasser like this. The beast of all beasts. May he rest in peace. And then you have Paul Dillett. Much like Nasser El Sonbaty, Paul was a beast among men back in the mid-90s. I mean, nobody was touching Paul Dillett in size, muscularity, aside from Nasser, I guess. But in that front relaxed position, Paul Dillett was Mr. Olympia. He is just dwarfing the likes of Dorian Yates, who, keep in mind, guys, he was the reigning and defending Mr. Olympia at the time. Paul Dillett was an absolute force on the bodybuilding stage. Up until 1999, in my estimation, I mean, he still meant business, still looked good, but in my estimation, his best years were behind him. By 2000, he brought this look to the bodybuilding stage, and it definitely did not resemble the Paul Dillett of old. By 2003, this is what he brought to the bodybuilding stage. And like I said, guys, this is not meant to disrespect these guys. It just, realistically, we would like to remember them in their prime and not looking like this. By 2006, like a trooper, like I said, guys, all these dudes, soldiers, he competed one last time. And yeah, Paul Dillett, 2006, a shell of this Paul Dillett. Wow. That is pristine. Could you imagine some people watching this video that never seen Paul Dillett before? Wow. Now, the next guy on the list, he's not really on the list, so just ignore this one. It's kind of an honorable mention. Dennis Wolf, he was a stud. Back in 2007, he took 5th at the Olympia. Probably should have even won. Could have even defeated the guy that won at that event. Won't be mentioning any names. 2013, he was still a force. He got 3rd. 2015 was his last Olympia. He still looked good. Wasn't in his prime. And he seemingly called it quits until he returned in 2018. And in my estimation, Dennis Wolf, with all due respect, should not have made this return. It was at the Arnold Classic Australia, and then just the straight-up Arnold Classic. Did not place very well at either venue. But this isn't a situation where he competed way too long. So, like I said, he doesn't really deserve to be on this list. It's more of a shouldn't have made the return. Shouldn't have returned to the bodybuilding stage. And like a lot of these guys, to remember Dennis Wolf, in my opinion, is to remember this 2007 Dennis Wolf. So I don't think that return really hurt his lineage whatsoever. And then there is Victor Martinez. He is a different sort of case. This guy was incredible. His future was so bright in bodybuilding. Just incredible, guys. Look at this. Victor Martinez, early 2000s. By 2007, his career culminated, so to speak. He won the Olympia, question mark, quote unquote. No, he placed 2nd to Jay Cutler. Good percentage, I would say over 50% of onlookers or fans, I guess, so to speak, would say that Victor Martinez did defeat Jay Cutler in 2007. But having said that, Victor Martinez continued on to compete, of course. He looked incredible. He got 8th place. He was down to 8th place by 2010. By 2013, I mean, the guy looked good. He still looked good. But he was placing out of the top 10. He got 11th. But in my estimation, like I said, he still looked tremendous. By 2017, guys, still competing, still looking incredible. So why park a car if it still runs, right? Well, the fact of the matter is, guys, he was not placing. He wasn't even placing. So why disrespect his past, his near Olympia win by continuing on to compete? Yeah. In 2020, the guy was still up there, taking 9th at the Arnold Classic 2020. Actually got a victory over some decent bodybuilders. So do I think Victor Martinez has competed way too long in bodybuilding? No. I think as long as he calls it quits now, as long as he doesn't continue on to compete, I think he's all right. He didn't compete too long. And the same could be said about Boo Bunder. And we're going to finish off with this guy because he is a current competitor, Roelly the Beast Winklaar. A lot of your guys's and one of my favorite bodybuilders in the history of the sport. Roelly Winklaar, guys, 2018. An uncrowned Mr. Olympia? Well, some people would be inclined to believing that he placed 2nd. He placed 3rd, guys. He placed 3rd. And in my estimation, that was his peak of his bodybuilding career. But he still competes, guys. He is still looking to compete this year. And in my estimation, I think he should call it quits, with all due respect. He got 11th at the 2021 Mr. Olympia. That's the last time we seen him on the Mr. Olympia stage. And for a guy that was pushing to win the Olympia at one point in time, maybe even should have won, to be getting 11th. And one more thing, guys. He's seen his 40th birthday 5 years ago. So, yeah, he got 9th at a small show like the Romania Muscle Fest Pro. A show where he should have easily walked in there in guest posing condition and won. So, yeah. I think Roelly the Beast Winklaar, he is knocking at the door for a bodybuilder that has been competing a little bit too long, but much like Victor Martinez, as is, hey, it's a great career. Call it a career, as is everybody else on this list, guys. I don't mean to be disrespectful to any one of them. I just believe it is nice to remember them in their prime, and when they go too far with it, a lot of people remember them for dubious reasons. But it sure makes for an entertaining video, and I hope you guys were just that entertained. Hit thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel. Have a great day.